Here, I'm late. Put me down for a tardy. I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened. I didn't sleep well last night, and I I didn't snooze my alarm, so I have like different alarm times set. So I set it for like the middle time, and I'm like, I'm just gonna set it for the later time, and then I just kind of scrolled, checked my email, didn't pay attention to the time at all. Took my shower, started brewing coffee, went to the couch to create the thumbnail for today's show about Buster Posey. All of a sudden, I look at the time and it's 7:03. Oh, I thought it was 6:03. I completely out of it this morning apparently. I am late. So that's why. What's up, Jenny? Good morning, George. Good morning, David. Um, so I'm sporting I'm sporting a new shirt today from my old company. So my old company, the company I used to work for, they gave us like a $100 gift card to use at Land's End for like our own company store. So like everything has our company logo embroidered on it, so we can get polos, dress shirts, jackets, parkas, these winter gear shirts. So it's the last week of my employment, and I'm like, oh, I still have that $100. I'm gonna buy some like hoodies. Gonna get a couple hoodies for the winter. I don't care if it has the company logo on it. It's free swag. So put my order in, and it just arrived. So that was back in October, early October, and it just arrived yesterday. Land's End is only 30 minutes from my house. The headquarters is I think it's Dodgeville, which is about a half an hour west of here. So finally came yesterday. So this was actually this was the shirt that I was most looking forward to, and I have a body shape because like, and I've said this, that there needs to be beer belly polos, because if you have a beer belly, shirts tend to not fit. Now I could change that and kind of shed my beer belly, but what's the fun in that? So so my kind of fit funny. So this is, I think, an extra large. So the sleeves are a little longer than what they should be, and the shirt at the end that goes down to like the waist, like if I'm afraid if I run it through the wash and I don't dry, because it drying shrinks them. Um, I fear that one time I run it through the wash and it dries, it's gonna shrink. And then I'm just gonna goes to the goodwill pile after one or two wearings. Um, so if anybody has the entrepreneurial spirit in textiles, beer belly polos, beer belly, I will be customer for life, because I hate the way shirts fit me. And I'm sure, like, I'm short. So then you say, well, go extra large, which I don't. Then there's that mindset, like I'm not XXL because I'm only like 5'10", 5'11", and it's just the dad bod I've got going. So it is what it is. You just deal with it. So let's talk Hall of Fame today. George got back from IKEA, went tonight instead of on the hellish weekend. Tell me that I hate shopping on the weekends, especially Costco. It's hell on earth on a Saturday afternoon. Jenny, were you getting bookshelves or binders? What's up, Mark? I never put hoodies in dryer. Too risky. Absolutely. Just putting all shirts except for like the undershirts, the white undershirts. I'll throw those in the dryer, but t-shirts, polos, hoodies, all just dry. So air dry. So I wanted to talk Hall of Fame because and I've talked about this since the Ericas had their vote. 6 new Hall of Famers announced on Sunday. We're starting to see some public ballots, which I think I looked this morning. No new public ballots, which is really weird. I'm gonna go look today, and I said this the other day that it just seems way slower than normal. There's only 10 public ballots out. And it's December 9th, and I think the deadline is December 31st. I feel like we usually have like 25 by now. I'm gonna go look at Ryan Thibodeau's history, like where we were at December 9th of 20. It's super slow this year. So I love following these ballots and kind of dissecting, you know, putting together what my ballot would look like if I had a vote. So I enjoy Hall of Fame talk. And I was watching yesterday, I was watching the replay of Hobby Hop from Tuesday, Hall of Fame collector. So they had some good chat about the Hall of Fame. And Buster Posey's name brought up. And like, that's interesting. And I've thought about this when he retired. Like, is Buster Posey he had a short career. I mean, he had he played past the minimum 10 years for Hall of Fame, but it was just like, man, what a short career. What are his numbers? So I went and looked, and on the surface, I'm like, no, Buster. My initial reaction, no, Buster Posey is not a Hall of Famer. Then I looked at the numbers, and I still thought no. On the surface, on the initial numbers. So Buster Posey, 1 MVP, 7-time All-Star, Gold Glove, 1 time. He won a batting title, 3 World Series. So those are accolades that, to me, like on an individual, like if you're going to argue, you know, those individual accolades mean nothing to me. Like all-star votes, like fans vote that in. Like if fans love you, you're an all-star. It doesn't really have much effect, on your playing, the actual numbers. So, but collectively, I get it. Like collectively, those accolades as a whole, not looking at them individually, but if you look at his body of work, he was the Rookie of the Year, which, again, individually, well, so was Bob Hamlin of the Kansas City Royals. He was a Rookie of the Year. But did Bob Hamlin win an MVP? Or was he a 7-time All-Star? Did he go to 3 World Series? Was he a 5-time? So as a whole, the body made it 158 home runs, a 302 lifetime batting average, which is really good. 729 RBI. So his slash line was 302, 372, 460. So, great batting average. Home runs and RBIs were low. Again, you also have to position. He was a catcher. So that's when I go to Baseball Reference, and I love their similar batters. And you can see, well, who are they? And this is just another way that I like kind of rationalize, if I would vote them into the Hall of Fame. So his similarity scores are really weak. Similar batters. Now, they don't break this down by position, but there are some catchers on this. There's actually about half of them are catchers. Similar batters. So he's most similar to Terry Steinbach, former Oakland A's catcher. Then it goes Xander Bogaerts, Thurman Munson, Troy Tulowitzki, Tim Howard, Walt Cooper, Ramon Hernandez, Jose Vidro, Javi Lopez, and Jason Varitek. Like those are the 10 most similar. Vasktech! Oh, hi, Louisa. We missed you yesterday. So those are the most similar batters, none of which are Hall of Famers. Now, I think Thurman Munson is Thurman Munson should be in the Hall of Fame. The other guys, no. So those are the most similar batters. So I'm like, so that's what I initially looked at. I looked at all of the accolades, the awards he won, with the batting average, the home runs, and all that, and the similarity scores. And I'm like, you know what? He's a fringe Hall of Famer. Now let's dig deeper. So let's take a look at. So I love Baseball Rep. I think what's his name? Jason Jaffe, Jeff Jaffe. what's my, okay. So I'm going to go down and this is all on Baseball Reference. So go down to the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's under the awards category. And then you can go to, is it going to let me, it takes me a while. So, shoot, I don't know where it is. So it's similar to the similarity scores. And it's called Jaws, which I think you've probably heard of on MLB Network. Let me see, find it. Of course, I had this all ready to go when I was looking at this yesterday, and then I can't find it. Gosh, dang it. And Baseball Reference is great because there's so much. There's so much here. But it's not great because it can be very difficult to find. So that's not what I'm looking for. Well, this is terrible, terrible YouTube. That's not it. Okay. Maybe was it in a separate section? So if anybody could find that, that's the Hall of Fame ballot, the committees. Maybe it's under his player profile. I apologize. I'm off my game today. Let's go back to the chat. Let's see. Mark was on a Zoom call last Sunday night with a bunch of us that were into that induction, was happy with the 6. Wish Dick Allen got in. Yeah. And Dick Allen for me is kind of like Dick Allen and Gil Hodges were like, if they get in, they get in. If they don't, they don't. The only player that I was like has to get in, that I was passionate that he had to get in, was Buck O'Neil. That was really the only player of the 6. The other, the other 5, it's like if they get in, great. If they don't, fine. But I'm very happy for Buck O'Neil posthumously going in. Jenny is Christmas shopping on Amazon right now. Better get to it. Yeah, I still haven't done my Christmas shopping yet. Mark has turned into a big haul guy. I go once a year. It doesn't bother me or take away from my visit to see Harold Baines in. I'm a medium haul guy. I'm not small haul. I'm not big haul. I mean, I think, if it were up to me, players like Harold Baines would not be in. Players like, I would not have put Gil Hodges in. I would not put Dick Allen in. There's players that I would personally not put in. But I'm not a small haul. Like I think if you were a small haul, you would be much more like right now on the current writers ballot. Like I would put legit like I think there's 11 surefire Hall of Famers in there, and with the potential of maybe 14, maybe even 15. And I think small hall would, they're a little more, hold the horses on that. What's up, Bob? Good morning. Jenny, I'm avoiding all stores. I'm high risk. I don't expect others to wear masks. Just wish more would. Herman's done with Christmas. Just got to pick up a Secret Santa card. Very, very nice. I think my wife sent me, she texted me she gone to bed early and she was on the couch and she texted me her wish list. So I'll have to get on that today because it's already December 9th. And with the way the mail has been running, which we all knew. So I'm looking, okay, there, hey, I found it. So it's actually under player profile under Hall of Fame statistics. So, which is the Jaffe War score system, created by Jay Jaffe. I was close. Sabermetrician Jay Jaffe. So, okay, I guess I clicked on the wrong. I'm way out of it today. Okay, so Jaws catcher, is this gonna, okay, so here's the Jaws leaders in catchers. So Buster Posey ranks 14th on the list, and there's only three catchers above him not in the Hall of Fame, and one of which has not come up for induction yet. That's Joe Mauer. He's a couple years away. Joe Mauer ranks seventh among catchers. Number one is Johnny Bench. Number two is Gary Carter. Number three is Pudge, Ivan Rodriguez. And number four is Pudge, Carlton Fisk. Number five is Mike Piazza. Number six, Yogi Berra. Mauer at seven. Bill Dickey is number eight. Former Cub, Gabby Hartnett, number nine. Mickey Cochran is 10. Ted Simmons, 11. And then the two Hall of Famers right above Buster Posey in the rankings. This is the Jaws Hall of Fame rankings for catchers. Thurman Munson at 12, who I think should be in. Gene Tennis at number 13, who I do not think should be in. And I think Mauer should be in. So I think 13 of the 14. And then you could make a case, well, Buster Posey's on that line. But I think, and somebody brought it up and it made me, you can agree and disagree. And as long as, if somebody brings a point up and you may not agree with it, but it may make you think. And so when I post this as the mystery player, should they be in the Hall of Fame? And of course, people, well, you didn't include this. I couldn't include everything. And yes, I could have in the initial tweet included more. But there's a lot of things, and a lot of the things that I did not include, I don't feel are like, I think there's certain statistics and numbers that all go into it, but as a collective unit. So Jenny asks, what makes Buster Posey a Hall of Famer to you, or not a Hall of Famer? So here's why. So initially, when I'm looking at the batting average, the home runs, just the 12 years is kind of, on the lower side, but you also have to consider he's a catcher. And I was only looking at this comparison from the similarity chart by Baseball Reference, which is way different for Buster Posey than the Jaws, which is the kind of a collective body of work with WAR. So you can find it on Baseball Reference. So it's part of, I think, the Hall of Fame Cooperstown Casebook, where he outlines who should and should not be in the Hall of Fame based on his metrics. So when I look at these metrics, that's why I think Buster Posey should be in. However, he's still kind of fringe. But kind of, so even looking at this, I'm like, okay, I didn't think he was, based on the numbers I looked at, based on the accolades, based on the body of work, I don't think he was a Hall of Famer. But somebody on Twitter, I think it was Kurt on Twitter, mentioned something that got me thinking, and eventually it changed my mind. He talked about the era in which he played, and you look at the positions, and catcher is one of those positions that is looked at much differently for Hall of Fame purposes than other positions. An outfielder, a shortstop is going to be looked at much differently than a catcher, just because of what they go through, and with the offensive numbers. A catcher hitting 302 over 12 seasons is highly impressive. So it got me thinking. He's like, he was one of the greats of his era, which really challenged my view. And so I looked, okay, let's compare him to other catchers of this era. And so we look at, and I'm going to go by the Jaws with the other Hall of Fame catchers. Johnny Bench, was not in his era. Gary Carter, not in his era. Pudge Rodriguez, they overlapped like 2 years. Rodriguez, Pudge, his last year was 2011. Posey was a rookie in 2009. So just a very sliver of overlapping time in Major League Baseball. Fisk, before his time. Piazza, before his time. Piazza's last year was 2007. Yogi Berra, long before his time. He overlaps with Joe Mauer, so he's got Joe Mauer. Bill Dickey, long before. Gabby Hartnett, long before. Cochran, long before. Ted Simmons, before his time. Thurman Munson, before his time. Tennis, before his time. and then we have Buster Posey. So there's only one catcher in his career that he matches up with. Now, there's some players down on the list that could climb. Yadier Molina's down at number 22, but this is his last season. I think this is his last season. Russell Martin, I think he retired. He's at 27. Victor Martinez is at 30, 33 for Brian McCann. So all of these players, I think that the closest one is Salvador Perez, and he started in 2011, so he probably, and who knows? I mean, you know, Yachty was in '04, so he could have another solid 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So, um, Buster Posey was one of the best catchers of his generation. Him and Joe Mauer are the two best catchers of this generation. And Joe Mauer, no doubt Hall of Famer, ranks number 7 on this Hall of Fame Jaws list. Buster Posey at number 14. So that, Jenny, was what pushed me over and why I changed my mind that I do think Buster Posey is a Hall of Famer. I took a look at the body of work, and it was the entire time. It's like he's a fringe, he's a fringe, he's a fringe, and then all of a sudden, you know what? That one point swayed my decision from fringe no to fringe yes. Because and then you look, he ranks number 14th, but there's not too many Hall of Famers below him. There are Hall of Famers below him, catchers. Buck Ewing is right behind him at number 15. Roy Piniella is 17 on the catchers Jaws list. Roger Bresnahan, number 20. Josh Gibson, number 28. Josh Gibson, a lot of that time I think was in the Negro leagues. Actually all leagues. Josh Gibson. Put the Negro League stats into Major League Baseball stats. Ernie Lombardi, number 29. Rick Farrell, all the way down at number 44. So that's why I went in yesterday thinking, no, Buster Posey is not a Hall of Famer. I looked at the stats. I still thought, no, yes, he was a catcher, but it just doesn't do it for me. I looked at the similarity scores, and his most similar batter by Baseball Reference is Terry Steinbach. No, he's not a Hall of Famer. Well, he's a catcher. What about the Jaws? Okay, now we're talking. He's a fringe. Pretty much everybody above him is in the Hall of Fame as a catcher, and there's a couple of guys below him. And then look, what about his generation? Was he the greatest of his generation? Yes, he's top 2, 3 of his generation at that position. Buster Posey, in my opinion, changed my mind. He's a Hall of Famer. Jenny says, I guess it's weird to me to think of a guy as a Hall of Famer that started in 2010, but all the older guys are not in. Yeah, he had a very short career. I mean, you look at it, and Joe Mauer didn't have too much longer of a career. Mauer started in '04 and retired in 2018. So he comes up on the ballot in, I think, another 2 years. So he'll be on the 20, when the ballots 2 years from now, he'll be on the ballots December of 2023. Yeah, Buster Posey's rookie year was 2009 and just retired. So in 5 years, he'll be on the ballot. Who else? Yachty will be on right around the same time. Because I think is he playing Yachty Molina playing one more year? So if he plays one more year, he'll follow Buster Posey in 2024. So Posey will be on the ballot in December of 2026, and then would be on likely 2027. It's 5 years from their last season. So and I'm disappointed. Only 10 public ballots have come in, and I wonder if, real quick, I'm gonna see, just because otherwise I'm gonna end up I'm going to end up cutting the video and then getting to shipping, and I'm not gonna. So I'm just gonna look it up. we're going to do from these accounts, not Mr. Tibbs, and we're going to date it December, and we'll just do like a 3-day window, December 8th, 2020 to December 10th, 2020. And I'm very curious. Okay, December 8th, because he will typically post, here's ballot number, whatever. So let's see. So that was so last year on December 8th, of last year, there were 29 public ballots. 1 year ago, there was 29 public ballots, and we're only at 10. So my inkling was correct. I feel like we've seen far fewer ballots than we have historically at this point in time. So, yeah, wow, 29 public ballots. And I was thinking it was in the 20s. That was a higher number. I was thinking maybe 24 at this point in time, but 29 ballots on December 8th last year, and only 10. So nothing to report on what new has come about in ballots since yesterday morning. Not a single public ballot has come in since yesterday morning. So Mark going, if not for 2 strike shortened seasons, Baines has 3,000 hits, which is usually automatic. That's a good point. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Apologies for being late. My head is really foggy this morning. Really foggy. I maybe it was my poor sleep. So back at it. Shipping, eBay sales a little down yesterday compared to what I saw Monday and Tuesday. After Sunday's just atrocious sales Monday and Tuesday, but still a good amount. Last 30 days, though, if I'm seeing the red, I hate seeing the red, but I know it's December. This is the worst selling month for cards. Last 31 days, I'm down 9% in sales. So that's not what I want to see 7 weeks into starting this business and adding several thousand listings. I did about 100, actually less than 100 yesterday. I think I added maybe 75, 80 listings yesterday. Did a basketball group of about 55. And then I did some soccer. Fall Creek says, what's the best selling month for cards? First quarter. So January, February, March will be the best selling. And I'm typically selling baseball. So that's the highest months, but it's traditionally even like everything is down in December because football, we're like heading into the playoffs. So it's kind of like old news. Football is old news. Basketball usually is, the basketball market's just really crazy right now because it's super down. It's way down. I mean, it's way down from pre-pandemic levels. The hobby as a whole is up over pre-pandemic, but basketball's down from like the peak we saw in 2019. So January is when we start to pick up. February, March is, I think I would say February and March would be higher than January just because that there's just kind of a hangover the first couple of weeks in January coming off the holiday. Literally in Philly. And then February, March, that's when, you gain steam. We've got the new releases for baseball come out. People are excited. They're looking, prospecting. They're getting prospect cards, speculating for the new season, who's going to be the rookie. So picking up their first Bowmans and pre-rookie cards. So February, March, big selling months. Worst November, December, worst selling months. And then in between those two time periods, second, third quarter can be up and down. And it just, at that point, it just kind of depends on, okay, you can have better months just depending on what you're selling. If like Shohei Ohtani, if you're sitting on 100 Shohei Ohtani rookie cards, and he's off to the start, what we saw this past season, and you're sitting on a bunch of Ohtani, your sales are going to be really good. So it just kind of depends on those peaks, and it's like, why was there a peak in July? Oh, because I bought 3 cases of this and happened to get a really nice hit, or I, just a lot of different things. But generally speaking, overall, best sales come in the first quarter. Worst sales months are in the fourth quarter. So I think we're another solid month of poor sales. Because I don't think we'll start seeing a pickup until mid-January. And if the lockout continues into mid-January, it could kind of slog in. I don't think there's going to be a resolution this month. I don't think there's going to be a resolution for the lockout in December. I do think it'll get resolved before spring training. Before spring training, but I think it's going to be kind of one of those 11th hour things. I think it's going to come right down January. That could kind of delay a pickup in the card market, with people just kind of like, oh, I'm not going to buy anything because I don't know if there's going to be baseball this year. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I don't expect any resolution for the lockout this month, and I think it's going to carry on through the. But I'm optimistic that it does get resolved before spring training. Lockout got Puig to the KBO. Very nice. Very nice. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hit like, subscribe if you're not already. Have a great Thursday, and we'll chat tomorrow. Oh, before I go, my buddy Dave, who I'm meeting up with tomorrow night at Club 400, I've got like auction winnings from last year, or actually earlier this year. He was supposed to bring to the last Club 400 event over the summer. Then he was going to bring them to the National, and he forgot. So was it the National? No, it was the Spectacular last month. He was going to bring them to the National, forgot, and then the Spectacular, forgot, and I think Club 400 in between and forgot. So he's like, just send me a text the day before we go to Club 400, and I'll show you a picture that they're in my truck. So I actually texted him like Monday night, and I'm like, hey, don't forget, load those items up. And then I was going to text him this morning, and he beat me to it. He texted me with a picture, loading up his truck, and on the top, and I forgot that these were, and that's what's fun about, waiting so long. I forget what I bought. So what I bought was several hundred 73 Topps baseball commons, a box of like 2,000 or 3,000 Cubs cards, like 30 uncut sheets of Cubs minor league sets. And then there was like a lot of like programs. And on the top, this is really cool because of who's going to be in it. And let me see if I can. This is all about me like searching the internet this morning. I just want to see. I'm going to go to minor league. We got to go to Cubs because one of the items, 85. Let's see. Okay, so this is going to be a cool item. So on the top, which I didn't realize was in this lot, a program for the 1985 World Chiefs. And when I saw that, I'm like, whoa, because I knew some of the players that were on that team. And I went to eBay to see, I bet this is because I only got it. I paid probably $4 for it. And it $4 for like the whole group of programs. None on eBay. So who's on that 85 Peoria Chiefs team? Well, there's a Hall of Famer by the name of Greg Maddux. If it weren't for steroids, another Hall of Famer, Rafael Palmeiro, was on that team. And then some other players like Hector Villanueva, one of my favorite Cubs prospects, Rick Rona, Probably not of the program because he came on, I think, late in the season. But Greg Maddox, Rafael Palmeiro, Jeff Pico was on that team. With Maddox and Palmeiro, that's going to be a really cool item. So can't wait to get that. I'd probably never own it because it's it's likely far more if you bought it like at a card show or on eBay. It's likely going to cost way more than what I would pay for a program because I'm just not into programs. I'll pick them up on the cheap if I find them at an antique store or at a card show. But it's not something I seek out. And, I definitely, an item like this would be more than what I would be willing to pay for like a program. So, really cool that I can add that to my collection. So, I'll show it off over the week. Be picking it up tomorrow night. So, we'll show that stuff off. So that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Thursday, and we'll chat tomorrow.